Okay, bear with me, the newbie, figuring this stuff out. I'm too old for these young gadgets. Anyways, credit goes out to Georgetown University for holding this, and also Global Georgetown for posting this. This is the pandemic preparedness in the next administration. Keynote speaker Anthony Fauci. Now we all know who he is because COVID happening right now. So, and this is interesting here too. You don't see the cursor off, but it might highlight. The leader set lesson turning the target against AIDS. I want to look into that because I think many of us know that AIDS is probably a man-made virus as well as the COVID. But here we go. Many of us in the Patriot community, we like to parrot what we hear. It's gospel, it's truth, without actually having factual information or knowledge on it. Here is Fauci, in his own words, stating there's going to be a pandemic in the next administration. So I caution everybody, do your research. And that's one of the things I've learned from the beginning of patriotism, I guess you could say. Do your own research. Don't believe what you hear. Y2K was the end of my bullshit. The world's coming to an end, blah, 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 whatever. Here we are, 20 years later. World didn't come to an end. But I'm going to play this for you so you can share. This is Fauci in his own words. Partnership between Georgetown U and Harvard. January 10, 2017.
My name's Alan Weil. I'm editor-in-chief of Health Affairs. We're very pleased to be a partner in this event.
He'll only speak for less than a minute, so bear with me. I'm only going to play a few minutes of this, maybe 2 minutes. And Fauci, right off the start, boom, he says it. So you can, the address for this will be in the link in the description. If you want to sit down and watch the whole thing, you can, but the meat of the bones is right off the start.
I want to add my thanks to you all for being here, and particularly my appreciation to Ashish and John for the collegial way we put this together. We each bring great strengths to this topic, and I think together...
Eat the meat, spit out the bones. Fauci gives the meat right in the beginning. He gives you the meat. So there's not a lot of meat left. It's mostly bones from here on in.
We do something none of us could do individually, and I want to echo Ashish's comment at the beginning that we hope this is the beginning of more, even if we have to leave the rarefied air of Washington, D.C. and Cambridge, Massachusetts to do so. It is truly my honor to be able to introduce our keynote speaker today. It is often said, just look at the bio, there's so much there, and indeed there is, but I think it's important that you understand, if you don't already, the great credibility and accomplishments of our speaker today, Tony Fauci, who's director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases at the National Institutes of Health. As you'll hear in his remarks, he served under 5 presidents, which I think is quite relevant to the conversation we've been having already this morning. He was one of the principal architects of the creation of PEPFAR. He's a member of the National Academy of Sciences, the National Academy of Medicine, many awards, including the National Medal of Science and the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Dr. Fauci has 43 honorary doctoral degrees, author, author, or editor of more than 1,290 scientific publications. He brings experience and credibility and perspective. Please join me in welcoming.
You hear what he said? Experience and credibility. Now, how credible this guy is, we don't know.
Welcoming Dr. Fauci.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here with you today.
Now, I want to note one thing here before he gets into his speech. And like I said, it's only probably going to be another minute, less than 2 minutes. Notice how he has to force words out. At least that's my taking of it. What do you think? It looks like he has to force words out, and he puts his head down. He stresses certain words. Pay attention to that part as we go on here.
I've spoken at after-dinner speeches and intra-dinner speeches, but I've never spoken to a line of people waiting to get their food. So it's nice to have you. Anyway, it's the idea that we are now a few days away from a new administration obviously prompted the really extraordinarily, very enjoyable, and I'm really pleased I had the opportunity to listen to the panel, both of Amy and Ron, and as well as Bill and Dr. Jafari, which really, I think, set the stage for so many of the things that we are going to be dealing with over the coming years. Given, as you heard from the introduction, that I have been around for a while and have had the opportunity and the privilege and the pleasure of serving in 5 administrations, I thought I would bring that perspective to the topic today, is the issue of pandemic preparedness. And if there's one message that I want to leave with you today based on my experience, and you'll see that in a moment, is that there is no question that there will be a challenge to the coming administration in the arena of infectious diseases, both chronic infectious diseases in the sense of already ongoing disease, and we have certainly a large burden of that. But
there it is. What was that? Within the first minute and a half of his lecture or speech. But let's go on just for a few more, and then I'm going to cut it short, and then link will be in this description if you want to continue watching it.
But also there will be a surprise outbreak, and I hope by the end of my relatively short presentation you will understand why the history of the last 32 years that I've been the director of NIAID will tell the next administration that there's no doubt in anyone's mind that they will be faced with the challenges that their predecessors were faced with.
SARS,
so
MERS,
for those who think that infectious diseases
HIV
is gone, there's so many people who've made foolhardy statements not knowing at the time that they made them. I usually show a quote from an old Surgeon General or an old...
We're going to cut it there. Do we have extremely deep state ties with this guy? If you haven't watched my first video, he's linked with COVID research. Now there's COVID's been around for a long time. It's just there's different viruses, and apparently this last one, actually look at the backside of a Lysol can. If you have an old one laying around, I haven't personally witnessed this or seen it, but they state that COVID will be killed by Lysol. It's on the back of the Lysol can. If you have an old one laying around, check it out. Let me know. I don't have any. The last one I had kind of burned up on the stove. Long story short. But check it out. Somebody get back to me. If you have one, post it. so we can I can share it, others can see it. But with that said, I think we're going to conclude this video. There's the evidence, there's the proof of what has been floating around. Like, subscribe, comment, let me know what you think in the description. Thanks everybody. Take care.